Hello, welcome to Kitschy Cabin, where I've got a brand new box, and it's all clean and shiny, and I can't stop tapping it. Today, we are looking at this box of Alice in Wonderland playing cards. I got these for Christmas. Generally, my favorite thing to collect is like standalone decks. I love collecting cards, and I love collecting unique card decks, like that you won't find anywhere else. For example, the Therapets deck that we opened recently. Themed playing cards are a little different than that in that you're working off of a set sort of template and style. Tarot cards are a lot like that too, where in tarot cards, if you want to make a traditional tarot deck, there's a certain amount of cards that need to be in the major arcana, there's certain suites and everything. Tarot cards are very particular, and playing cards are the same way. And that's a lot of limitations that the artist has to stick to that you wouldn't have to in, again, a deck like Therapets or something like that, where you're working off a totally blank canvas. But sometimes limitations work well in decks and in art, and it helps you come up with even more ideas you wouldn't have otherwise. So let's take a look at these Alice in Wonderland themed playing cards. And as always, if you would like to get your own copy of this deck, there will be a link to do so in the description. First, the boring part that no one but me cares about, let's talk about the packaging. Very nice, like very shiny cardboard. It's kind of hard to see here, but there's a little bit of a dent. I drove back with this in my suitcase when I came back to my apartment after visiting my family for Christmas, so that could have been me, in all honesty. But overall, very good box. Good condition. I love the design on the front and back here. Simple but cool. Sometimes I look at stuff and I'm just like, I don't have anything to say about it. I just think it's cool. Oh, wow. Okay. Ooh. So before I say anything about these, I'm gonna go ahead and go through each of them one by one really quickly, and then take apart a few single ones so we can talk about individual designs. I took out all of the cards with any unique illustrations. I assumed that, for example, like all of the Queen cards would have the same illustration and all the King cards would have the same illustration, but it does not look like we've done that, which is cool. It looks like for every suite there is a different illustration for each of the face cards. Also, I don't use playing cards like this very often, so apologies if I get any like terminology wrong. I'm just gonna talk like I know what I'm saying, and hopefully that'll be enough. So now we know all of these have unique illustrations. Let's look at the face cards one suite at a time. So we got King of Diamonds, Queen of Diamonds, Ace of Diamonds, Jack of Diamonds. That should be flipped. Hold on. Alright. King, Queen, Jack, Ace. I am not like a huge, Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland fan, so instead of grading these on like how closely they relate to the book, I'm just gonna go off general vibes and the art and how it goes together as a collection. So King of Diamonds immediately sticks out to me, because it's weird. It's weird as hell. It very much fits like the Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland vibe. When I think of Alice in Wonderland, I think of like off-putting, odd, a little whimsical, but also a little scary. This definitely fits that vibe in a way that I almost wish more of them did. I think the art style is definitely aiming for like illustrations you would see in the actual book, like from that era, which makes sense, but personally, I think Alice in Wonderland, and also just my preference as a collector for art styles of things I like more of a whimsical, like almost creepy sort of illustrations I think would fit this deck really well in this theme. But as far as the like semi-realistic fairy tale book illustration style goes, these are a very good example of that. They fit that vibe very well. This one especially, this feels like a page right out of a picture book that I would have read in kindergarten. Just the very cartoonish sort of expressions, the big shoes, the kind of Three Stooges vibe that these guards have going on. It's very, I was gonna say cute. I don't know if cute fits, but it's nostalgic almost. This one is cute. This one I do find to be very cute. I will say, and I've said this before, but I really like when decks have a consistent sort of art style and like visual messaging. And from this suite and from, you'll see from the rest of the cards, I think we definitely get that. Everything feels very cohesive. Again, it feels very like fairy tale illustration, semi-realistic style. So I like that. I like that you can take two separate cards and know that they are from the same deck. But let's move on. So now let's look at these spades. We got king, queen, jack, and ace again. And we'll take another look at each of the cards individually here. This one I really love. This is another one that I think is very cute. I think any that are just Alice hanging out are pretty cute. I think she's holding a pig there. If you're like a huge Lewis Carroll fan, feel free to, tell me what any of the cards or what this card especially means, because this is wild. Like, I'm sure this is a reference to a specific scene in the book. I like especially with this one, you have sort of, I believe these are mushrooms or some kind of plant, but they're sort of breaking past the canvas to the point where they peek just behind the cue, whereas with the ace and with a lot of other ones, you see us stay really closely in like the outline of the character and of the scene, but it's always a cool juxtaposition when we see art reaching past the limit of the canvas. That's cool. Here we have the jack. This one I would say is creepy, and I do think that fairy tale illustration style lends itself very well to creepiness. And again, I would like if this deck leaned into the creepy a little bit more. This one definitely qualifies as unsettling for me, the rabbit's eye especially, and in my opinion that's a good thing, because again, that's what I think of when I think of Lewis Carroll. And then here we have the ace of spades. Here we've got king, queen, jack, and ace of clubs. This is another one where I have no idea what's going on. This also, I think, falls into that unsettling, almost scary illustration style that I think fits the theme very well. One thing about this suite, I think you get this in every themed playing card deck, like this, where you're trying to do different illustrations for each face card. You start to get illustrations where you're like, what does this have to do with king, and what does this have to do with queen? And it's very nitpicky of me, I know, but these appear to just be two different scenes from Alice in Wonderland, which, for me, if they weren't going to have all of them stay on theme, more or less, I think I would prefer they didn't try and do different illustrations for every suite. And again, I know I'm nitpicking, but that's just my opinion. And this card I love, but again, this feels like, why is this a jack? This almost feels more like an ace to me, with like solitude and just little Alice in a big chair. I think she might be looking at something or someone. It's hard to tell, but this has ace energy. I can't explain why, but it definitely doesn't have jack energy to me. Though I'm not entirely sure what a jack is in real life, other than like those little pointy things that you pick up and throw around. We've gotten to the point in the video where I'm just saying words. Again, I would say that this has more jack energy. I would like this one and this one flipped around. I know I am nitpicking, but I'm allowed to. It's my video. I do want to take a moment here to say that these cards, I mean, they're brand new out of the box, so you wouldn't expect them to be scuffed at all. And they're not. They feel very sturdy. Maybe a little sturdier than your average playing card. When we're done looking at all of these individually, I'll do a little test shuffle. They'll probably be a little difficult to shuffle inherently because they are new cards, but I do want to rate them on just how easy they are to shuffle, because obviously any playing card deck you're going to expect to be shuffling quite a bit. And finally, we've got hearts. We got king, queen, jack, and ace of hearts. And this is another one where very clearly I feel like this doesn't feel like a king card. It's a nice illustration. As with all of these, we have that consistent like fairy tale picture book sort of art style, and we have a color scheme that's very fitting of the like not retro but traditional feeling that you get from a story as old as this and a theme as classic as this, and a color scheme that goes very well with the sort of yellowed parchment color of the back of the cards. It's a good card, but it's not a king to me. This on the other end feels like a queen to me. This feels like a good choice for the queen card. Obviously, because I'm pretty sure she's talking to the queen. So, I will say one thing about this illustration in particular, there's a lot going on in this one, whereas with a lot of them, you have more of a, single character, or like, even if there's a couple of characters, a simple background, there is, in contrast, a lot going on in this picture. I think there's some guards in the back there, just a lot of lines, and it makes it a little busy looking, especially in comparison to a card like this from the very same suite, where we just have a single character, simple background, that kind of thing. Then we have Jack and Ace, which these both feel like Jack and Ace cards to me. These fit the vibe. They pass the vibe check. This especially. I'm not sure why. I don't know what my criteria is for this, but this feels like a Jack card to me. The Mad Hatter has big Jack energy. Those are all the face cards, which leaves us just with the jokers, and the many numbered cards. I won't spend too much time on the numbered cards. Much like the box and the back of the cards, we have these very pretty like swirling lines and patterns. Very intricate, very classic feeling again, and I think very fitting of Alice in Wonderland. And then finally we have the jokers. I took both of them because we got black and red. Big smile, and then we're all mad here. But I like this. I like that this is a very personalized sort of Joker, and I like that both the Jokers are the same. It does feel odd with all of the face cards being different to make the choice of having both Jokers be the same, but I'm not mad about it. I think it's very cute. Again, it looks very classic and a little demented almost, which I think is fitting of Alice in Wonderland. So now, like I said, I want to do a quick shuffle just to see how shuffleable these are. And as always, a warning that I am inherently very bad at shuffling. So take that into account when you watch me shuffle. It might not be the card's fault. Okay, overall, not super easy to shuffle, but like I said earlier, that's kind of to be expected when you have a super duper new deck, just because new cards are very stiff and they can be very hard to handle, but I wouldn't say it's wildly hard to shuffle. It's just, you know, this is a very new deck. I just took it out of the box. They're sturdy cards, but they're not impossibly stiff. Thanks for joining us. Let me know if you want to see more custom playing card reviews. Let me know if you have recommendations for specific card decks or collectibles you want me to look at, as I am always open to getting new stuff. I love spending all of my hard-earned money on random cards. My favorite part of being an adult is no one can tell me not to buy a bunch of random useless stuff just because it makes me happy. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. And if you know anything about card games, please tell me if this is a good hand or not. I think it is. I don't know. I have never played poker. Is it even 5 in poker? Is it 5? I have no idea.